This time, no Braum for Zeyzal as well.
And I actually think Reaper's job is a bit easier here. For TSM, you can so often project the type of composition that they're going to run. Very, very high chance of Grig on a tank, Mithy on a tank, and Hauntzer on a tank if it's not GP. So GP has not been removed yet, so that is still an option. But other than that, it has always been triple tank from them. You know, Bjergsen on some sort of playmaker. Galio also counts into that. Sure. And then Zven on one of those high DPS auto attackers for the late game. Varus is going to be that, plus the strong laning phase.
And of course, we have Zven going to Varus instead of the Kaisa, which I find a little bit interesting. Kaisa had been a much more frequent pick for him in the postseason. He's now actually got twice the plays on Kaisa he does on Varus, but switching that around, there will be a Tahm Kench that'll keep him alive, and TSM going to keep going with a very steady state of Zven being a great team fighter, a damage percentage leader for the World Championship.
I really do like a Tahm Kench pick, specifically when they already showed an early Camille. Camille has a very, very high potency for picking people off, very long range, but she's super squishy. If she commits to someone, you Tahm Kench devour that person, all of a sudden Camille will usually find themselves in a bad spot if they're not paired with something like a Zillion or something that's going to give them some sort of defensive buff. On the other side here, Cloud9, let's go with this Aatrox.
Yeah.
Because I'm very glad the North American teams have increased their priority on this Aatrox. We've seen it in the LPL months beforehand. They never really even dropped it down, and across the world as well for strong presence from the top side. And Licorice is going to steal that one over here from Hauntzer, but he might have to play it into Urgot.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I really like this. I think it's very interesting. There were 0 picks or bans of Aatrox in the entire playoff bracket. Quarters, semis, finals, third place. 0 Aatrox picks ban at all. They again watch the LPL, LMS, a lot of other regions still playing Aatrox. It immediately shows back up in the regional qualifier. Urgot, a very similar scenario where he's been very big across Asia, and it's going to be a fun matchup to see. Now, we have seen Urgot mid as well. I don't expect this for Bjergsen. I expect it to be the into Aatrox pick, but still one to watch for.
Yeah, technically, those are both flex picks. Aatrox and Urgot can be moved to either solo lane, but Aatrox probably a higher percentage there for the top side. Urgot definitely very versatile. Galio ban does come out because Camille's already been picked up by Cloud9. That is one of the best combinations in the game. You have Camille guaranteed engage and locking people in an area for Galio's big AoE stun to arrive.
And you can see a TSM still respecting the hard engage comps that C9 could run. You think back to the semifinal, Leona had featured in that series somewhat prominently. So Zeyzal losing another support from his pool as Tahm Kench was picked. Braum and Leona were banned, and he's going to play something else.
All right, so yeah, they're definitely whittling down on a couple of the support role picks here for Zeyzal, who has been a big playmaker for Cloud9. Coming in out of the Academy League very early on, he was one to stick on the starting roster.
Ooh, they move Urgot.
Urgot, yep, switch down here, probably to Bjergsen now. Could definitely have a little bit of wiggle room, but not that much.
Urgot jungle!
I've seen it. All I'm saying is I've seen it.
That's fair. I've seen Orianna jungle as well. My Gold 5 friend not going to be bringing that on the LCS stage anytime soon.
All right. Meanwhile, though, the big lock-in of the Sion. This is what I was talking about earlier. The archetype for TSM is they have 3 tanks, and they've already got them here. Tahm Kench, Urgot, and Sion here from the top side for Hauntzer. Plus, Sion gives guaranteed, repeatable engagements for the late game. When you get a little bit of cooldown reduction and you rank up your ultimate, gets almost to 30 seconds there, and you can just fire off ulti after ulti to get those hard engagements, especially if you're ahead.
Absolutely, and we're going to see what they're against here in Cassiopeia being hovered. And Jensen going to play Cassiopeia into Urgot, a matchup we saw in Echo Fox versus Clutch. It was in the top lane. This one going to go into the mid lane now as well.
And that one in the top lane also had a first blood start, level 1.
Yes,
so
it did.
It wasn't, the greatest of samples. Cassiopeia is safer in the mid lane, also has the range advantage over Urgot, which is very big for the mid lane, but again, jungler presence means so much in this. And if Cloud9 are going to have Blaber on his Camille, which he's been so aggressive on and has played around the mid lane, Camille and Zach are 2 of the longest range engagement for junglers, and both of them perfectly built to camp around the mid lane. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup between Jensen and Bjergsen. Both of those guys are extremely star, mid laners with very high skill caps. Junglers are going to want to get them ahead. And
this is not the first time Bjergsen's brought out Urgot in the NALCS postseason. I think back to old Urgot in around 2015, where he took down Cloud9 at the out in the sun, I think, at this arena outside, and that was exciting as well. Either way, we are into game one of this best of 5. Aatrox coming back in North America. Blaber on another aggressive player with that Camille, but Zach still in the pool for Grig. And the only real ranged marksman on that TSM lineup is Zven.
Yeah.
To be the big damage dealer here. It's going to be an exciting one. Coaches shake hands. They've got more to play, but a very exciting draft all the same.
Yeah, I mean, we were projecting at least 3 tanks for TSM. I count Urgot as a tank because you basically build Black Cleaver and then a bunch of tanky cooldown reduction items. So they've got basically 4, and it's going to be up to Zven to have that big damage percentage that Analystesh mentioned. He, at Worlds, has had the highest damage percentage for a team in any single run of any year at Worlds.
Yep. And here we go. Score 0-0. Someone's going to take the first one of this best of 5. 3 Nexuses sends you to Worlds. Cloud9 and TSM ready to do battle. Let's get into Summoner's Rift.
Final stage of the North American Gauntlet. Both these teams gonna fight it out here. Cloud9 have had such a miraculous run at the end of summer, and they want to make it count here and convert. Speaking of damage, they have damage from basically every role. Very different compositions we have on our hands here. If Cloud9 get an early lead, it can look like a very one-sided game here because they have so many options for damage. And in the early game, you will win skirmishes across the map because TSM won't be able to group up with their big damage.
And it's not even just options for damage, it's options for diving as well. You think Aatrox can revive, Camille can drop aggro, Alistar turns practically invincible. They're pretty good at really pressing the advantage. Those dives are going to be exciting.
And because that is so important for this Cloud9 composition, I would expect a lot of focus on Blaber and Blaber's early route here. Either give him a strong pull on the red buff so he can take over both Scuttle Crabs in the river. Camille absolutely will destroy Zach, even though Zach, after you get some levels, can have a good presence around mid lane with Elastic Slingshot. Early on, Camille has a huge priority over him with the hook shot, and she will be able to dictate this early game. So it's up to Cloud9 to use Blaber and his aggressive playstyle here, try and help him out early. Here we go, though. It is going to be the double pull on the red buff, kind of as we're expecting. Licorice with a nice ward here on Krugs, too, because that is a very common second camp to go to now.
Yeah, especially for magic damage dealers like Zach. Krugs have negative magic resist and high HP. Zach has % health damage. He actually slaughters those camps, so we'll see if he goes for it. As that red comes down, we'll trap it.
Yeah, it's actually funny because it has evolved to be Zach's favorite camp. Because of the magic resist you mentioned, Zach used to love going blue side to do the blue buff as well as the Gromp at the same time. But because Krugs is so valuable now and he absolutely destroys them with his spam AoE, this is definitely the new route. And it was a very good ward there by Licorice seeing it. Meanwhile, Blaber going to make his way to the top side as well.
So Cloud9 get to be informed of the jungle pathing of Grig. They know his right side jungle is totally open, and Blaber can use that to take whichever camps he wants. I expect him to get a lead in the early jungle pathing because of that information difference. He's going to head up towards top scuttle, and I want to see what he's able to take away from Grig that's not just simply both scuttles.
And we need to also look at it from TSM's perspective, right? They pick this Zach into the Camille knowing that they're going to need vision to protect Zach early on. Whenever you have this scaling jungle difference, you know that your laners are also going to have that in mind. Hey, we're not going to have presence early, so play your lane accordingly. And that you could see it in all those wards in the river defensively for TSM. They know Blaber is now going for the second scuttle. If he uses all of his abilities on the scuttle, then you can go for the engage.
Fall-in's coming up. Yes, this is Blaber going to be in a part of one. He tries to get the Q backwards, and the auto is going to pull him back. And where is going the rest of the team go? They're going to fight, and it goes over to Grig. And looks like Blaber is able to get away safely. He had the E available, so no dive. but Grig able to match in camps.
And great move there by Mithy. It's all about the support from your team when you're going for these jungle skirmishes. Zach is able to steal that one away, but Blaber slips into the blue buff. Can he finish it before the wolves are finished?
He's got an Alistar as well. This seems pretty likely. So as this gets stolen away, we've got a silent report from Avli. That's word from Reaper.
Thanks, guys. Rupert said that the team watched TSM play yesterday and that they actually looked pretty scary coming into today. He said that the team fixed most of their problems coming from Oakland and that they've now found their stride. What I loved was that he told his players, guys, if you don't have confidence, trust in me because I'm confident in you. Back to you guys.
Reassuring words from Reaper. If you don't have your own confidence, just trust in me. And he talked about them fixing some of the problems from Oakland. We have already seen a difference in champ select right here. Sneaky, right? On the Kaisa. So reliable, late game scaling. You know, doesn't have to play like a Quinn who has to get an early lead, play side lanes to join, you know, get pickoffs and won't be able to put out team fight damage later on. Kaisa definitely very capable of that. Well, also being one of the champions that can, in fact, push side lanes later on because of her ultimate being able to join from a long range away.
That's one of the reasons he played Quinn so much, was the ability to play from map mobility. And even though he didn't win any of those Quinn games against TSM, it was something that seemed to be pretty powerful throughout the season. Oh, go ahead.
Also, the other champion that they got a lot of criticism for was the Twitch. I looked it up in summer of 2018. Twitch has not won a single game in any professional region. Actually, only been played 3 times.
Yeah.
Lost all 3. SKT first, Gen G was the other one where Bane tried to use it.
Yeah.
But not anyone finding success with that one quite yet.
Okay, we'll see it come back one day. I'm sure we will. Either way, we take stock of the map real quick. And we did see earlier, blue buff gets stolen away. Blaber should have an eventual camp lead over his opposing jungler in Grig, but the rest of the lanes, you've got +8 for Licorice in the top lane, a very small lead for Jensen in mid, but a quite sizable advantage for Zven and mithy down on the bottom side. So advantages on different sides of the map. You expect Aatrox to be a lane bully. Varus kind of the same, should almost always be ahead of Kaisa at least a little bit.
Yeah, this is with Kaisa with a teleport though also. Jensen actually gets ganked in mid lane.
Q gets the auto attack as well. Really good damage. And Jensen's going to flash backwards down to 400 HP, but here comes the re-engage. Supports are here. Grig has the passive. No chase to be had, but Blaber only level 4. Has to kite back. Not quite knocked up, but they're going to push back in there. They look at the stun, but mithy's there to grab him back out. Bjergsen going to stay alive. Going to be no kills.
A lot of flashes though. Both mid laners in the end have to blow their flashes. Grig as well from the jungle. And Zach, this is still fairly early stages into the game, so I would expect Blaber to try and play aggressively following this. Get some deep vision right now while you force them off of the map. And Zach, you know, in base right now, you can see already the Cloud9 vision on top side is starting to creep in around that red buff. Would expect them, you know, to make an offensive move up here. Blaber now taking over the scuttle, feeling very confident now as far as the flashes have been blown.
Nice chunk down there. You mentioned that teleport was brought on Sneaky here. That TP has been used, and as both AD carries get back to lane, it is still a farm lead for Zven, as they both got pretty decent recalls. Blaber seeing if there's a play to be had on the top side. Keep in mind, level 6 for both top laners means chance of a dive could be there, but now on the bottom side, teleport's coming down as well as the fight is coming in. Grig level 5 looking for the next play to be had. Zeyzal gonna zone out the rest of his players, but he's a bit alone. Ult's gonna go wide, finds a stun, but he has nowhere to go. First blood to be grabbed, goes over to Bjergsen.
Big pickup here for TSM. First blood in the mid lane for Bjergsen. After all the shenanigans that we just saw with everyone blowing flashes and the conversion around mid lane, he actually uses the teleport bottom. This is something that you do need to be aware of for Cloud9. He just got off his recall from mid lane, uses the teleport bottom lane. It's actually just a very good ward that they had there previously. Super deep, allowing Bjergsen to come in right behind the C9 duo as they were pushing up in the lane. And that was one of the first times that they had been that exposed. They're down in CS, being pushed under tower by Varus, and TSM very happy with that first blood in this early lead.
That's going to feel really good. The only kind of recompense in the mid lane was 4 CS for Jensen. Those mid laners are still equal otherwise, so a well-timed teleport with Spellbook turns that into an Ignite for the time being, so Bjergsen might find a repeat gank at some point, or can at least defend himself.
Yeah, Zeyzal talked about it yesterday, had a little Urgot demonstration, and mentioned the Spellbook and the options that you have with this, right? You can swap over, catch people by surprise with a teleport, even smites later on, so keep your eyes on which summoner spell Bjergsen does go to. Right now, though, Blaber goes all in on Grig.
Intense with the ult as well. Ult's gonna come across, pulls him right back out. Smites under the red buff, gonna jump away, staying alive on this one. Now Blaber, sadly for him, the red buff is going to leash back. He has a top laner around, though. They might stay.
Yeah, he should be able to finish it off with pure damage here. Both of them did use their smites on the fight earlier on. Grig trying to get some life back, and Blaber trying to use a challenging smite for some true damage. They don't get the kill, but they do steal away the red buff and exchange ults.
This has been good invading by Blaber, though. On this very early pick, Camille got a lot of pressure, has now taken half of Grig's buff so far this game.
Yeah, and to be fair to Grig, this is what you have to do with this champion matchup. Zach is on the defensive early on. Very good stuff here by Grig, though, making use of the early power that Camille is going to have in that matchup. Also, again, the solo laners collapsing for Cloud9 and coming to help out with that invade. You can see the almost 20 CS lead on top side for Licorice with his Aatrox. We've seen Aatrox's biggest impact has been roaming around. You know, a lot of times to the mid lane, into the jungle there, trying to use his ultimate early on to create skirmish plays for the team and get other lanes advantages as well.
Well, he's helped get the red buff the one time. That was pretty good, using his lane pressure for something on that side of the map. And we'll wait to see what he does next on this one. Both TPs were used about 4 minutes ago to get back into lane, and the second recalls have come through now as Aatrox has most of the Black Cleaver and his boosted speed. Blue buff handed off, no problem, over to Bjergsen on the right-hand side of the map. Still holding on to that Spellbook Ignite. Several minutes to go till his teleport's back up as well. Hauntzer this time will be the first one to roam down to this side of the map, and right now it's for a couple of wards, but might get behind Jensen.
All right, we have a top laner roam to the mid lane. Jensen, no flash.
The flash, E for the slow, the knock-up, not quite gonna land, but they get the push back as well. There's no way out. He's gonna get pulled right back in. What a kill, Bjergsen 2-0.
And TSM with 3 members in the mid lane there coming to help out Bjergsen. This is 2 kills now for the Urgot. He is going to have a very fast Black Cleaver. And the thing about running so many tanks for TSM, you can group up super early on and have very high effectiveness because tanks have such good baseline effectiveness just with their base abilities and a single tank item. You can expect TSM to actually have a very good grouping early on. Grig flies in. He actually never even got to touch Jensen, as Bjergsen threw him over the shoulder, got him with the ultimate there early on, but it was actually Hauntzer who had the effective roam from top lane that we were just speaking of as a possibility for Cloud9 and Licorice to go for. So very good job by Hauntzer to actually jump on one of his slim openings. He hasn't had too many of those to go look for it, but now Blaber wants to make a play.
Got the ult, gets right back into the wall towards his turret, but at 1/3 HP, might have to kite away. Looks like no dive to be had, as Grig is holding him alive.
He does have biscuits as well as use his last charge of Corrupting Potion, so he's trying to eat the biscuit now to sustain under his turret. And they also have Grig in the wings here, waiting to possibly turn it around even.
All right, now onto the top side. It's a 2v1. Licorice does have flash, has the ult as well. He's going to run away, and that is an ultimate down with the health bar still low.
Yeah, ult was burned. The minions were killed off, so Grig had no other targets to try and auto-attack and get his pullback on the stretchy arm, but Blaber now is going to have another
stretchy arm. I mean, it's both stretching strikes. Now we got a headbutt pull over to the mid lane, but mithy's around. Every time Zeyzal shows up mid, there's a Tahm Kench to save the target. There are no ganks and roams to be had.
And that's the thing. If you're running such a tanky lineup, even if Cloud9 make a big roam, it takes you a while to burn the target down, so TSM have some time to react with other people converging. Look at how big the shield is already for Urgot on the activation there. The Black Cleaver's been completed, so 20% cooldown reduction helps so much. He can make very good use of the passive armor shred on it because he can apply so many stacks very quickly. And again, gonna have high baseline of effectiveness. Maybe they use it for some early dragon control. This Cloud Drake could be quite important, and already TSM actually grouping up on bottom side, laying down some control wards to try and make use of the long range engage that Zach has available.
He's looking for it, going pretty aggressive. Now, Blaber not spotted by that trinket ward. Looks like no turret dive to be had. You mentioned the bottom side. Both first item spikes have come through. Storm Razor for Kaisa. So it's going to be AD Kaisa. They got a mage in their team, but the Blade of the Ruin King now done for Varus as well. Means that's going to be Zven online. And that Drake not going to be that hard to kill through that item.
All right, couple of item completions for Cloud9 as well. Licorice, 131 CS on the top side of the map. Does have that lead over Hauntzer, has completed his Black Cleaver, and is trying to wear down on this turret, trying to, roam around, get some deep vision for the team. But it looks like, once again, most of the action bottom side away from Licorice as TSM want to get that first turret bonus.
Blaber saw Bjergsen coming down, but it might not matter. Bjergsen now subbed in a Ghost as well. Now he's got 2 extra summoner spells that he's not bringing to the game. And yes, this turret about 500 HP. Its days are numbered, and there is no pressure by Cloud9 anywhere else. There's no repeat gang for Blaber to knock down top. They're just going to be slowly losing this turret, and TSM will grow their lead from 1,000 to about 2,000 when that turret does fall. A little bit of a trade on the top side. Pretty good damage, but again, it does not seem to matter. Hauntzer's gotten more done this game.
Yeah, a lot of sustain here. Again, just goes right back to chugging the Corrupting Potion. He's taking Grass Sphere on the Sion. Once again, the recent changes to Sion that have seen him rise to almost 100% presence in pro play has been that he gains very easily a lot of health from killing the minions now, just passively as he stacks up. Plus, if you add Grasp on top of that, he just gets very, very healthy super early on, and he can build lots of armor and resistances rather than having to focus health. There it is.
Yep, TSM getting their cake, eating it too. Cloud Drake plus first turret, and Cloud9 have done nothing to stop TSM so far in this game. The lead, almost 2,000 gold. They will get at least an answered Rift Herald, that is 100 gold plus at least a charge on a turret somewhere.
Yeah, Cloud9, luckily for them, they do scale their damage super effectively, and they do have a pretty diverse profile here. Even though it is the Storm Razor's Kaisa, there's still a decent amount of magic damage that she's going to output, as well as Cassiopeia. If Jensen remains protected, she can absolutely destroy some tanks that are only stacking armor. As of right now, Hauntzer is purely built, itemized for armor. Only his lane opponent, Bjergsen, has stacked up some magic resistance right now with the Negatron Cloak.
We'll see when that comes online, as Grig's going to make his first luxury purchase. He's got his Cinderhulk done already, so we'll see if that's Knight's Vow for armor or maybe a Spirit Visage for the very obvious MR plus healing synergy. Wait for that one later on. TSM moving back around the map, though, as mithy clears away the wards. And they've been the proactive team, which is actually a little bit weird to say in this match. Cloud9 typically have had better early games, and TSM, you heard actually in the Bjergsen mini interview before the game, he said that they felt pressured that, oh, there's a Gray who's going to scale up. We suddenly have to be the proactive team. We have to make moves in the early game. But in this one, they are the team making the moves in the early game, and they're being benefited from that with their 2,000 gold lead, now looking to move their team towards that mid side with bot to be pushed in.
With the Cloud Drake, it makes the roams like this much more threatening. You can see Zven moving in there towards Jensen. With the extra speed, you can get in range and threaten that ultimate with the Chain of Corruption. So Jensen had to go into evasive maneuvers very early on. TSM zone them off the turret a bit and get it down to 50%.
Turret down to half, and still Cloud9 waiting for their openings. They had several lanes with small advantages. Blaber winning the jungle matchup, Licorice winning the top side, but it doesn't seem to matter here. The level advantage actually for Grig in the jungle, despite losing those camps, despite the invade. Zeyzal got to go in for a 2-person knockup. Mithy's still around, though. Unstoppable coming in, and it's Grig just going backwards towards the rest of his front line. No kills yet, but they're still going to be chasing. Jensen walks in, gets exhausted, and here comes Sion. He gets a knockup on a Blaber. That's going to be a lot of stuns. Ults to buy some time. In comes Aatrox as well. 5v5 begins, a headbutt forward. Grig still has the passive. Hauntzer, and they're going to find that kill. Licorice diving in and reviving as well. They knock down the Bloblets, and it's now time to try to pick off Zach on this one. They will not yet burn the teleport. Hauntzer can't get the chase. There's a TP to keep Grig alive. He's going to get right away burning that flash. Only one kill. The disengage for Cloud9, and the fight is stopped.
What a fight! That was incredible here. Licorice comes down, flanks through the entire fight, flashes for the kill, finishes off Hauntzer, and you could see how difficult it was for Cloud9, even though they were able to tank out 100% of the health bars of 2 of TSM's tanks. It was Zach and Sion, both of them with passives to get back up and continue in the fight. So only 1 kill is awarded, but look how much work is done, and you can already see how much damage this champion has the ability to put out. Zeyzal goes in, he's the one to start it all out for the team. He forces kind of the regrouping here from TSM. Hauntzer has a really good ult right onto Blaber, who is a squishy member, but you can look at the split focus. When Licorice comes in, he splits TSM, their tanks and their damage dealers across the map right here, and he's able to flash in, use his ultimate revive, but now he's got no revive!
He's going to be going down on that one. Licorice Goodbye. It's a bit bitter for you. There's the kill picked up. Hauntzer grabs that one. 3-1 TSM. Now into the mid lane is Cloud9.
TSM very quick to strike back after that one. They get the revenge on Licorice. Meanwhile, though, the Rift Herald push has to be answered. TSM, you can see 3 members coming down from the top lane play to try and deal with that one. Make sure that Cloud9 won't get any more out of it, and it is going to be 1-for-1 turrets right now. Sneaky and Zven are also still pushing on side lanes, though, so we should have another turret trade on the opposite side of the map.
And pretty good wards out from Zeyzal to keep him safe. You can see Mithy doing a very similar thing on this left-hand side of the map, and a 1,300 gold difference will remain about what it was before. Zven has time to knock that down, gets all the local gold, Mithy only the plus 50. This turret, there is a Sion nearby, but I don't expect this to be defended by TSM. Hauntzer just going to grab a little bit of gold for himself, a little bit of XP, but knows he can't survive a tower dive when Zeyzal has Aftershock available. Sneaky should get local gold here as well and keep that game pretty close.
Okay. All right, as we get further and further into the game, just look down the list of the TSM tanks and figure out which is going to be, an easy target to take down in the fight. The answer is none of them. The only one is going to be Zven, and he's going to have the Tahm Kench next to him. So we'll see how Cloud9 will manipulate the field to try and get a good flank onto Zven. You have multiple people pressure him. They're going to need multiple points of pressure because they have so many tanks to actually work around. They definitely have the damage output, but it's going to be difficult to pull it off. So let's see here. With the towers falling, these deep wards become more and more important. You can see already TSM are moving up into Cloud9 territory, looking for another skirmish.
Going to knock down this ward, so TSM get to claim that brush for now. Blaber wants his chickens, might get him.
Remember, this is an Infernal Drake in 15 seconds here, so Cloud9 want to fight this. TSM, though, already with the vision control, this is a huge advantage. When you're the team with all the tanks, it's hard for Cloud9 to face check any of these brush. They don't have a super tanky member that wants to take those hits. Licorice is in!
Ooh, over the wall, they're gonna go in for this one. Out of the back line goes Kaisa. Can they knock off anyone? Mithy a bit low. Zven's gonna stay alive. Watch ever Sneaky gets away. Flashing away from the ultimate. It's a gate for Cloud9. Licorice ult gonna end. Sneaky chunked again a little bit, but now they've got the jump on towards Sion. Hauntzer's flashless. They've got the channel onto him. He's gonna go down. Jensen getting the second kill of the game. Now as Cloud9 get another one for 0.
Once again, Licorice flanks down from the top side. This time, though, Cloud9, they chase off one of the tanks away from the rest of the group. And with the Camille ultimate, they know that Hauntzer will not be able to get away, so Blaber traps him in. They finish off the kill, and Cloud9 starting to mount that comeback. They're not ahead in gold, but they have claimed the Infernal Drake for themselves.
Game getting a lot closer. Watch this fight one more time.
All right, so on the top side, Licorice goes in once again. He forces Zven to walk backwards, and then Sneaky is able to ult in off of Licorice's plasma charge that he applied to Zven, getting into the back line, forcing the Devour early, and this kind of made TSM split up. They had Hauntzer on the top side. He tried to run away, but Cloud9 can chase him down with the Camille while he's separated from the group.
And you mentioned the fact that Hauntzer had built only armor so far, still no magic resist, which meant he was pretty easy to cut down for Jensen here on this Cassiopeia. 3,000 gold in that fight, most of it into a very tanky Sion, but not against magic damage.
It's definitely necessary for you to have a split damage profile when you're facing a team that has 4 tanks.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because you don't want the enemy tanks to be able to have very gold efficient builds, only stacking one type, and that has worked out pretty early on here for Cloud9. Let's see about the next setup though, because it could very easily go the other way if these control wards for TSM allow them to get the engagement on their terms. This is a Zac and a Sion, very good long-range engagements that have follow-up engagements from the Urgot as well as the Varus with your Chains of Corruption. That can look like a very long form of CC. Licorice now is going to be the target again as TSM go for the side lane.
Might be found out on the side. Knock up, not quite going to land. He's gotten away from 2 of those so far, but now he's going to survive a 1v2 as Bjergsen's shown up, and the rest of the team only staying in the mid lane. So Licorice getting brought lower where they wait out the ultimate, and they're going to force the revive. TP coming in now for the rest of the team to show up as Sneaky joins the fight. 2v1. Licorice trying to stay alive, trying to dodge the ultimate, but he's going to be chased down, and that's going to be a kill picked up now for Hauntzer. Now Zeyzal got to be careful. At half HP, flashing the wall, but the ultimate's still there. Still available for Bjergsen. They bring him low. They can knock that kill down as well, and Cloud9 give up 2 kills.
And look at that. The 2 tanks from TSM are full health. even with Licorice trying to fight them on the bottom side and fight his way out, they don't even put a dent in them. So he goes down again, plus the rest of Cloud9 who tried to collapse and help him out. This is going to be TSM taking over the Baron pit area.
With Blaber having Flash and Smite, you expect an actual Baron attempt to not be on the table, but they are going to try. They're going to force Cloud9's hand, make them face check. 50-50 is unlikely, but the ability to stop the team fight could be easy.
And C9 have nobody healthy enough, no one tanky enough to face check this. All they have are squishy damage dealers and the possibility of stealing away. Licorice is alive again, though.
4v5 on the pit. Vision's there. Blaber can spike. Can he beat Grig for this one? She doesn't help. How is he the last one? Oh, it's beautifully done by Bjergsen, switching over to Smite with a spellbook, and the fight begins. And an ultimate coming in for Grig. A lot of damage to the front line, but the tanks are beefy. A kill onto Hauntzer, and the blob is now picked up as well. No TP's available. They can kill off Grig. He can die. Zeyzal will fall. The flash out, and Grig actually lives. They can't kill the bloblets. TSM get the Baron 1-for-1.
Again, the Zac and Sion passives. After you do all that work burning through these tanks, Zac is able to get right back up, and Sion takes down a counter kill on your support with Zeyzal dropping here. So Cloud9, they aren't able to steal away this Baron. Have another look here, Phreak.
The Acer Predator replay here onto this one, and the dive over, they choose to 50-50, and the double smite beats out Blaber.
All right, so TSM, after securing that though, Cloud9 take the fight inside the Baron pit. Blaber goes in, uses his stopwatch there. Bjergsen flash over the wall, and even though it looks like they have the early lead in this fight, the Sion zombie forces a flash and gets a counter kill, while also buying time for Grig to get back up, flash over the wall, and get himself to safety. So TSM with the Baron buff are able to take down the mid lane turret as well, and Cloud9 need to defend.
Kobe, I think we have to recalibrate what we consider 50-50 smites, with Spellbook getting more and more popular, especially on mid laners who are the highest level champions in the game. That extra smite is so easy to make sure you land. Blaber never had the option of smiting that one on time, and TSM could say, yeah, you've got a jungler with Flash Smite. That doesn't matter, our smites are bigger, and they were right.
Yeah, it's also hard to coordinate your double smites on your own team, though. TSM, once again, looking for Licorice in the side lane. This would be the third time, if they can chase him down, that they were been able to catch him out. They can't do it, though. Pops the ult, he runs away, and he actually buys a lot of time for Cloud9 here. He took out the minion wave. That's very important. Now there are no more minions. Oh, there's a cannon minion. Never mind.
Cannon's going to be in range to break down the barrier, and they've got tanks in the front line just to siphon off a little bit of this one, and slowly but surely, that turret is gonna fall. So TSM up 4,000. They've still got Baron buff on 4 members and a minute to work with.
All right, Cloud9 in full defensive mode right now. They need to just keep themselves safe at these turrets, wait out the extra minute of the Baron buff that's gonna come through. Right now, 44 seconds left on this Dragon. So TSM will still have Baron buff for the Drake that comes up and should be able to get priority over that area of the map, take the Scuttle Crab, and set up enough control wards that Cloud9 will not be able to contest. See if they do it, though.
We'll see. 45 seconds. Baron, of course, will be easily on during the Ocean Drake fight as TSM start making their way down, grabbing their whole jungle. A blue buff on his Zven. CDR, not a bad stat on that champion. 3-item spike in for him. That's going to feel really good. Hurricane plus the 2 on-hit items is a great spot to be at for the Varus. Sneaky still waiting to get towards that Zonia, so a much more powerful marksman down to the bottom lane. Zven having a much better game here. 3rd item in there as well for Bjergsen, the Righteous Glory, to set up the hard engage. And look at all these wards coming down. They are keeping C9 out of this area of the map. They can spot them if they walk in. And this could be a very, very easily grabbed Drake.
Yep, doing exactly that, setting them all up here. They've taken the Scuttle Crab. They have full priority. They have the long range engage, so that's why we're saying it should be their Drake to lose. Cloud9 will not want to get in range for a pick at the moment. It's just so easy for TSM tanks to get someone down to 25%, allow Bjergsen to finish them off with the ultimate. Drake has been picked up here. That is now 2 for TSM.
All right, Cloud9 on the back foot, but with Baron gone, they can defend their turrets with relative ease. Keep most alive. TSM did not pick up too much gold during that. The Baron power play, only 600 gold above what the simple Baron kill itself would give. Game still within striking distance, but Cloud9 on the back foot, or tail in Jensen's case. And TSM waiting for the next play. A while to go until Baron's back up, 3 minutes and change. Drake's gonna be in 6, and it won't even be the Elder.
All right, now Cloud9, this is a dangerous period because they have consistently gotten picked off in the side lane by TSM with good moves from TSM solo laners to allow TSM this lead that they've got right now. So this is the area of the game where Cloud9 want to stall and farm up. If you have a couple more items on all of these DPS members, that's when you really start to become threatening as far as burning down some of these tanks and winning the team fight. In the middle area of the game here, around 30 minutes though, it's very difficult for this team to actually focus one of these tanks down in time and before TSM can actually get that lead. Zach now looking for some long-range engages from the other side. And TSM pushing down this turret while Sneaky is actually pushing on top side for Cloud9. They're trying to trade turrets here.
All right, 4v4, come to the front line, TP in for Sion. The pass gonna be popped for Grig, but he's okay for now as the team shows up for the rest of the team fight. They're gonna still keep Kaisa in the top lane. Now how's the engage gonna work? Grig is down, the TP coming in finally for the marksman. A 5v4, those could be Cloud9's fight. Blaber forced to flash away, but the front line's still very durable. The back line not too bad either. Mithy bit low, Licorice gotta be respectful. A stun comes in, Zven stays alive. It's a 4v4, Hauntzer walks back. Watch out for Jensen, he's knocked up. He's not going down, he forced the zone. He has now Bjergsen, look for his next target. And they finally get those kills picked up. C9 on the chase. Licorice is low. The flash for Hauntzer, but he's going to be traded back by Sneaky. In goes Jensen. In goes Blaber. Trying to kite away. Over the wall goes Bjergsen. Can't quite find that kill. TSM routed. Cloud9 get up a kill.
Is Blaber going to keep chasing there? Bjergsen's so low, but Mithy's bodyguard right now is going to allow him to walk out. And that was an incredibly long tower dive. A lot of DPS actually done by the C9 turret in this. TSM force it because they see Sneaky top and they know that without the Kaisa, they actually have a chance for this. But what a counter from Zeyzal. Gets him with the pulverize, completely destroys Grig's opener here, and that forces TSM. They try and protect his bloblets with a secondary engage. And just look at all these stone plates from the TSM tanks. First it's Hauntzer with the Sion, barely takes any damage. Then on the re-engage here, Bjergsen on the Urgot is going to go in. He has a stone plate for himself too. Right there, they try to get the counter engage onto Zven, take out the big damage source. But here's number 2. Hauntzer's healing up. He uses his stopwatch. Licorice flashes in for the kill once again though. Him taking out the Varus was very big, allowing Cloud9 to finish the chase. Then Hauntzer obviously gets his flash explosion off too. His zombie gets slowed down though, so he's not able to chase down Blaber.
We're back to the hectic mid-game as the minion waves go back and forth. This game is at only 2,500 and any team could win this one. We get later on in the team fights. We've got a very big set of items on Jensen. The Void Staff done. Death Cap not far away. Cassiopeia scales so well. Whoa. And they've got a knock up there. They look for Hauntzer. Very tanky. Pops the stone plate. Not an easy target anymore. They're going to kite back. Oh, it's not going to land from Varus.
Stone plate is a very important cooldown to kite for Cloud9. You can see them backing off, and now they can go for the re-engage. Smith.
Oh, he got pulled back. He's going to go down. The flash is too late. He was willing to flash, but not after he got pulled back. And now the knockup comes in, but Licorice with the ulti on. Happy to chase forward. 2-man knockup. They're going to chase to the back line, though. No one can save Zven. He's going to surely be knocked out on this one. And the carry is gone. Hauntzer's alone. 3-0, Cloud9.
And just like that, Cloud9 are going to be able to take over the map. TSM have been scattered. They can't even get back to defend at the moment. 2 ranged minions left for C9 to push, and they're inside the base.
2 minions will keep the push going. They have the frontline tank it. Zeyzal can hold the tower shots. Inhib turret gonna fall. The inhibitor itself gonna drop as well. 25 seconds on Zven, but more than 30 on Hauntzer, and it means the push continues.
Grig is trying to cut off the minions, but these 2 ranged minions have been heroes.
Well, Zeyzal gets the aftershock. He's gonna take it for a little bit, but Bjergsen front-lining so well. Licorice is low. The kill into Grig. Respawn's coming soon. Still the 5 vs 2, but he pulls in them. The fear pushing Jensen onto the turret. Can they knock down Cass? They can't quite do it. The next turret is gonna fall. Zven is up in 5 seconds though. 1 versus the world. Can he make it happen? He'll kill Licorice, but the next will drop. Cloud9 take game 1.
The stadium here absolutely erupted as that team fight began. TSM had control, but Cloud9, as soon as they got that pick, They kited out the first stone plate and re-engaged onto mithy, who is split from the rest of the team. Once Tahm Kench is gone, that just means the Varus has 0 protection, and you're just left with a bunch of tanks running around trying to body block and distract people.
Who's going to kill the Kaisa diving backline when the Varus is dead at that point?
Yeah, nobody.
2 to 3 fights in a row, absolutely insane. It all started from that Zeyzal pulverize to stop the Grig engage. Zven had ulted Jensen. Jensen did not have a way out. I don't believe he was holding onto a cleanse. He didn't have a QSS. They're like, all right, we're going to dive in. We'll kill Jensen. That fight is over. We'll wait for Kaisa TP, no big deal. Pulverize stops it. They re-engage. Hauntzer was already teleporting to a minion, so we couldn't save the Bloblets. Grig died first. Just insane fighting at the end of that game.
Exciting first game.
Incredible stuff. We've got more coming. So to break down how Cloud9 took game 1, let's send it over to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you, Phreak. Now that's how we start off a series. C9 pulling it back from the grave. It seemed after the Baron was picked up by TSM that they might be able to roll that cleanly into a victory, but a couple good skirmishes and team fights for Cloud9, and they fire right through the base to pick up the first win of this best-of-5.
Yeah, I mean, a 2,000 gold Baron power play is not super impressive. They didn't break any inhibitor turrets, and so the map kind of resets, and then C9 do a good job of being able to force cooldowns out of TSM before backing off. So you see the first stone plate forced out of there before they disengage. TSM split, trying to get back to the mid lane, and mithy opens himself up as a target.
I mean, Aframu, top of the day, you said that a lot of TSM's success is tied to mithy and whether or not he's in the right place, directing the team in the right moments, and just there getting caught out in a crucial end game, team fight spells disaster for the squad.
Yeah. Their team fight is actually really hard for win condition. They have to start the fight, but their carries in the back have such short range to be able to follow up on the Kaisa and Cassio, and they have to go through Alistar with ulti, Camille who can R some of the damage and stuff like that. So it's kind of a hard team fight.
Tough to navigate team fights, Chat. What are your thoughts?
Then they made the call to end the game as well, which was really a close one with all the respawns coming in, and an easy way to kind of backfire the game if that didn't go, that they had just clawed their way back into. So that's actually one of those decisions that a regular season C9 would make, but you usually don't make in the qualifying series to Worlds. You normally play that safe, but I think it bodes well that they went for the risky play and pulled it off.
And you asked for that. You asked for them to play like it was the regular season, willing to take risks, because for C9, a lot of times when they're able to commit to that as a full 5, they come out successful in those kind of, risky plays. Taking a look at the draft, though, you talk about the difficulty of TSM's, comp to execute sometimes in the team fight. I just want to take a look at priorities and how these two teams have approached our best of 5 today. A lot of damage coming from C9's comp, a lot of beef on the side of TSM.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see what C9 is going for. They're still giving a lot of playmaking to the right people while building good team comps. So I do like that it's not just a completely standard Ornn tank that we saw a number of times the first time these guys played for Licorice, as well as the Camille for Blaber feels really good. So the fact that they could build a cohesive team comp while still getting Kaisa and Cassio great late game DPS sources was very good.
I think it's interesting that TSM went for the early pick Urgot. It's not that it went poorly, but TSM had spent so much time getting counter pick for Bjergsen. I think in this situation, the power pick was good and right, but they could have also just power picked Urgot and thrown a top lane. They opted into this full beef ball composition. I think for the most part, the draft wasn't won or lost for either team. It was really game being decided in team fights.
All right, so let's take a look at some of the gameplay as it played out from the beginning to the end. I do think it's interesting as well in that conversation around the Urgot that Cassio seems like the only response we've seen kind of across regions so far. But into the gameplay itself, a lot of heavy skirmishing, maybe sometimes only a death or two coming through when health bars are blinking red across the board.
And for me, I think Blaber actually had his first good kind of post-season performance. He was able to dodge out the Urgot ult in this play, which kind of kept him alive and allowed him to get another stun off.
Questionable here.
Yeah, questionable decision by C9 here. This is something that we saw a couple times with the TPs by C9 were not perfect, so obviously Sneaky comes in, but instantly just leaves anyways. Licorice still dies, and now they're collapsing into a 4v5.
Yeah, this ended up leading to a Baron for TSM because they just kind of walked in, tanked it up with Varus and eventually killed it. Afra, what were you thinking about how TSM tried to play this one out?
This one?
Yeah.
They can't really hit the tower because of Cassio's range and having Alistar there ready to engage. So they had Sneaky split for a little while, but since Sneaky wanted to TP down for this team fight right here, C9 just win team fights in general. because their front line has to like overextend to be able to CC their back line, and their carries on TSM can't really follow up. So their whole front line is like in the midst of all of these guys, and the only people that do have to play well around it is Blaber, and the front line on C9, which is Aatrox, has a res, Alistar has his ulti, and C9 just easily win this fight.
Yeah, I can really see the difficulty for a lot of those TSM members in getting into range to deal that damage. The gold swing at the end of the game. You know, it's funny, an interesting point that you kind of made offhandedly, Aphromoo, while you're watching the game is that a lot of times we come, you know, out of a replay or out of a big play or something, and somebody is in the process of getting caught in a side lane. In this game in particular, it was Licorice, but, you know, what do you necessarily attribute that to or diagnose that as? Why is it that people in kind of those reset moments, does it feel like are more prone to getting caught out?
I think a lot of the top teams learn this skill where when you're coming off of a team fight or a reset, you have to instantly know how to set up the map, where you want to go, where the enemy team's going to go, and predict it. Otherwise, you're going to get caught somewhere. So TSM is really good at that, off of a reset, know what they want to do. They're like, Licorice is going to push the side lane up, overextend a little bit, we can catch him. So Tahm Kench ports over there, and he got caught twice like that, starting team fights.
I think there should be, or rather there is some concern then around, again, the inexperience that is that exists on the Cloud9 roster, and Licorice, Zeyzal, and even Blaber himself. And yes, they did come away with the victory, but a couple of those moments definitely allowed TSM to extend the game and keep themselves in a position where that Baron ultimately was taken off of a pick in the bot lane and rotated up to the top side.
That said, I did think that while that's the downside of being the rookies, the go when you see the opportunity was still there. That was something that was lacking in the playoffs. And in that final fight, you know, there was no hesitation as Blaber, after killing Mithy, realized I can get onto Zven for free now, and he hopped the wall and found him, and that's kind of won them the game, was Blaber getting the Camille ult off. So I think they can criticize him for that, but it was a good thing as well.
Jat, TSM to blue side here moving into game 2. It was a very close game. So what would be some small adjustments that you'd like to see from this squad to, you know, push the series to 1-1?
I really want them to control Kaisa more. It is by far Zven's most picked of the playoffs. I feel like whenever you're opting into these 4 tank compositions like TSM has done, or a lot of other teams have done globally, Kaisa is the key to that because she shreds faster than even a Rageblade Blade of the Rune King Varus would. And I think if you swap the AD carries in the last game, TSM probably wins. I want them to early pick Kaisa because that blocks a lot of opportunities for the other team.
All right, priority in that ADC position. Cloud9 starts the series with a win. We'll see if TSM can bite back when we return for game 2. See you after the break.